Hey guys! I am here with my 2023 Calder Cup Playoffs primer. I know I was certainly confused when I tried to look at the format of the playoffs, but hopefully by the end of this video we can all understand it a little bit better. I have all my notes here, so let's get ready to go. So the first question is, who makes the playoffs? Well, that depends on what division you're in. So the AHL is divided into 2 conferences and 4 divisions. And so your 4 divisions are, in the East, you have the Atlantic Division and the North Division. And in the West, you have the Pacific Division and the Central Division. Let's go division by division and find out who makes the playoffs. And a little disclaimer, 23 out of the 32 teams make the playoffs, so we are in for a bit of a ride. In the Atlantic Division, starting off, the top 6 teams make the playoffs in the Atlantic Division, and the top 2 of those teams get the byes. So, the top 6 teams to make the playoffs for the Atlantic Division are number 1 seeded Providence Bruins, number 2 seeded Hershey Bears, number 3 seeded Charlotte Checkers, the number 4 seeded Springfield Thunderbirds, the number 5 seeded Hartford Wolfpack, and the number 6 seeded Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Moving on to the North Division. In the North Division, the top 5 teams in the division make the playoffs, with the top 3 of those 5 getting a first round bye. So, for the North Division, the teams that made the playoffs this year are the number 1 Toronto Marlies, the number 2 Syracuse Crunch, the number 3 Rochester Americans, the number 4 Utica Comets, and the number 5 Laval Rocket. Moving on out west, in the Central Division, the top 5 teams make the playoffs, and of those top 5 teams, the top 3 teams get a first round bye. So the teams that made the playoffs in the Central Division are number 1 Texas Stars, the number 2 Milwaukee Admirals, the number 3 Manitoba Moose, the number 4 Iowa Wild, and the number 5 Rockford Ice Hogs. And last but not least, the Pacific Division. So in the Pacific Division, since they have the most teams, the top 7 teams make the playoffs, and the top team is the only team that gets the first round bye. So for your Pacific Division, the teams that made the playoffs this year are number 1 Calgary Wranglers, number 2 Coachella Valley Firebirds, number 3 Colorado Eagles, number 4 Abbotsford Canucks, number 5 Bakersfield Condors, number 6 Ontario Reign, and number 7 the Tucson Roadrunners. So here is how it works. We're going to work backwards. So starting with the Pacific Division, which is the most confusing of all of these divisions, I will explain it. So as we know, the number 1 Calgary Wranglers get the first round bye, so they don't have to play in the first round, which is a best of 3 matchup between the 2 teams. So Calgary will play the lowest seeded first round winner. The lowest seed that they can play is number 7, Tucson, who's playing against number 2, Coachella Valley. But no matter who wins, they will play the lowest seeded winner. The other matchup in the second round will be the highest seeded winner versus the middle seeded winner of the first round. So moving back to the Central Division. So as I said, the Central Division, the top 3 teams get the first round bye. So that would be the Texas Stars, the Milwaukee Admirals, and the Manitoba Moose. So in any division where the top 3 teams get the bye, the number 2 seed and the number 3 seed play each other in the second round, and the first seed gets whatever winner of the first round, whoever wins the first round. So in this case, the number 1 seed is the Texas Stars. So the Texas Stars will play whoever wins between the Iowa Wild and the Rockford Ice Hogs. And the number 2 and number 3, Milwaukee and Manitoba, will play each other in the second round. And the second round is a best of 5. Moving back out east in the North Division, it is the same deal as the Central Division. So the Toronto Marlies are the first seed, so they will play the winner of the Utica Comets and Laval Rocket series. And the number 2 and number 3, which is the Syracuse Crunch and the Rochester Americans, will play each other in the second round. Last but not least, the Atlantic Division. The top 2 teams get the bye, so that is the Providence Bruins, who are number 1, and the Hershey Bears, who are number 2. And this works kind of like the Pacific Division, where Providence will play the lower seeded first round winner, and the Hershey Bears will play the higher seeded first round winner. And the teams playing in the first round are number 3, Charlotte, number 6, Lehigh Valley, and number 4, Springfield, against number 5, Hartford. So that's how the second round will be played out. The second round is the division semifinals, and then from there, it kind of just works out like a regular playoff format. The winner goes on to the division finals, which is also a best of 5. Then the winner of that goes on to the conference finals, which is finally a good old best of 7. And the 2 winners of that moves on to the Calder Cup final. And obviously the winner of that is your 2023 Calder Cup champion. So I hope this video helped some people out who were confused, who are planning on watching the Calder Cup playoffs. I know I was extremely confused when looking at this matchup last year. I was looking at the bracket from last year, being all kinds of confused. But I hope this cleared it up for a lot of people, and we can all watch together and cheer for your team's farm team, or if you're an AHL fan in general, cheer for your team or bandwagon another team. But if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. And bye!